Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to our Arabic classes. We are doing the Medina Arabic course book 1, and tonight inshallah ta'ala we are starting on lesson number 10. Lesson number 10, as far as the book is concerned, this is about our 27th lesson so far in our lessons that we've been doing. As you can see, we are on page 54 of the book itself. That's how many pages we've actually gone through. That's why, even though it may only be the 10th lesson, in reality, there were quite a number of pages that have been covered. But be that as it may, this is where we will be beginning tonight, inshallah ta'ala. So without further delay, let us begin. Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Now, I had made mention last week in our class that the crux of this lesson, lesson number 10, is when it starts bringing in the Arabic pronouns. And I had mentioned that, well, many years ago, running short, just short of 10 years ago, when I was teaching this book, I wrote a short, you can't even call it writing, but I mean, I just put a couple of things together on the topic of the Arabic pronouns to help assist you getting to know all the pronouns one time rather than doing it piecemeal the way the book brings it to you. So I'm a bit torn. Do I start the lesson and then move there, or do I go there and then come to the lesson? So I figured, you know what, let's start the 10th lesson just so you have an introduction, and then we can shift off to that book itself. Let me just see if I am able to throw this. Let me see, because apparently you're supposed to be able to share files. So let's see if this works. I've never attempted sharing a file over Zoom before. Okay, let's see now. Again, can't be shared. One more time. Okay, it went through. I hope at least it comes out on your side as well. But yeah, so if it does work, so be it. If it doesn't work, I'll open up the document myself anyhow. But in any case, so let's begin. Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. So the lesson is Darul Ashir, the 10th lesson. And it starts as a conversation between two people, Hamid and Muhammad. So Hamid speaks and he says, Man anta? Who are you? You, one singular male. Muhammad replies, Muhammadun, Ana talibun bil jami'ati. Ana talibun bil jami'ati, with putting in the laws of tajweed. But Ana talibun bil jami'ati, I am a student at the university. Hamidun. I'm saying Hamidun, as you can see the double dots, because it's denoting the speaker. So Hamid now says, Anta talibun jadidun. Are you a new student? Anta, singular, masculine, second person, you, meaning you, one man. Don't focus on the you, one man too much for now. We'll touch upon that in a few moments, inshallah. So, Muhammad now replies, Muhammadun, Na'am, ana talibun jadidun. I am a new student. Remember, the am, is, are, these are words that we use in English. Arabic doesn't exactly have that. So it's something which is understood, even though not used as an Arabic word. But anyway, so he goes on, he says, Hamid speaks again. He says, Hamidun, min aina anta? Where are you from? Again, like I said, comes from us in English. Where you from? You know, but we're not speaking kitchen English. Where are you from? And Muhammad replies, Ana min al-Hindi. I am from India. Al-Hindi is Hindi because of the word min. And we did touch on this before. It's supposed to be the word min with a sakin on the noon, but min, ana min al-Hindi, but we're joining. So we won't say min and join and stop here. We'll give it a haraka. So ana minal. So the noon gets a fatha in the sense ana minal Hindi, and because of being a preposition, therefore the word which follows it get a kasra. Ana minal Hindi. I am from India. Okay, and I'll just do this next one, and then we'll stop here. So he then says, Hamid now asks, Hamidun, ma ismuka or masmuka. The squiggly thing above the alif shows that it is a hamzatul wasl, meaning that you join over it. You've got masmuka, but you don't pronounce, no pull. So masmuka. Ma ismuka. What is your name? Ka is the equivalent of the word anta, and you'll understand that in a moment. So just keep that in mind, what I'm mentioning now. So masmuka, what is your name? Ism means name. Yeah, I mean translates to name. The word noun. Ism, name. Ka, you, your, at least. Muhammad replies, Muhammadun, ismi Muhammadun. My name is Muhammad. So what have we done here? We've done anta, we've done ana, we've done ka, ismuka, and the ya, ismi, e. Those four is what we've touched on. Now, he doesn't go into too many. He'll bring in maybe 1, 2 extras in here. Yes, you'll see a couple of extras. But before it becomes unnecessarily confusing, we're going to shift across to the other book. So give me just 1 second so that I can see how do I switch the share here? Here we go. Can you see the Word document open now, or is it still showing the PDF of the kitab? If somebody can just confirm. So I know I'm not speaking as if the Word document is open, and instead the PDF of the Medina Arabic course is still showing. Okay, it's open. Jazakallahu khair. So this is like I said, it's a tiny little booklet. We'll do the entire thing tonight, inshallah ta'ala. Obviously, it won't be possible for you to take everything in all at once unless you have some previous Arabic knowledge, but it's for you to like I threw the document in. It's available online on my blog, darulilm.wordpress.com. You'll find it in the Darul Ilm publication section. And yeah, even in last week's audio, which was uploaded to the YouTube channel, Darul Ilm channel, you'll find it in there too, Arabic class number 26. In the description of that video, you'll find also the link to download this kitab. So whichever way you end up coming across this, there are multiple ways for you to download it. But anyway, so it is here more for your revision purposes, so that for the duration of the next week, you'll be able to go over this book and try and wrap your head around it so that you're able to understand it. So I titled this kitab Adh-Dhamaa'ir, or Adh-Dhamaa'iru if we're pronouncing the ends, but the dhamir is singular, Dhamaa'ir is the plural. It means as you would see, Arabic pronouns. So Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walah wa ba'd. So it's a short lesson. This is a short lesson on the usage of pronouns and possessive pronouns in the Arabic language. In Arabic, there are 14 pronouns because in Arabic you have singular, dual, and plural, while in English you only have singular and plural. The pronouns, as far as Arabic are concerned, are the following 14. And I'm going to read it and you can follow along. Huwa, huma, hiya, huma, hunna. Anta, Antuma, antum. Anti, antuma, antunna. Ana, nahnu. Not ana. If you heard me say it, ana, nahnu. Look where I put the dots. I put dots at certain places for a particular reason. So I'm not translating it yet. You'll see the translation shortly. So I wrote here, it is important that you memorize all 14 of these pronouns, and to memorize them in this particular order has its benefits, because it will make it much easier to recall and to use it. When you're doing the books of sarf, if you decide to go further in life in Arabic and you go the traditional style instead of the modern style that we are currently using, you'll find it also in this particular order. So memorize it in this order. All you have to do is memorize it like this. I mean, you memorize a surah of the Quran, you memorize a poem, you memorize everything. So you've got 14 words. Just memorize it in the specific order. It will help a lot. Because what happens is when you've got it memorized in this order, you can draw on it from your memory. Whenever you're trying to think what is the pronoun for this or that, you will be able to draw on it from your memory. So these pronouns, these 14 of them, there are 3 masculine third person, 1, 2, 3, hence why I put the dot. Then 3 feminine third person, 1, 2, 3, dot. Then 3 masculine second person, meaning third person, someone who's absent. Second person, the person you're speaking to. So masculine second person, these 3. Then feminine second person, 1, 2, 3. Then 2 which are first person, which is used both for masculine and feminine, meaning these 6 here are only used for men. These 6 here are only used for females, and obviously feminine items here as well. And ana, nahnu, this does not change depending on whether you are a male or a female. Both of them will use the same pronouns as well. And where singular and plural is concerned, there is no dual. So these ones have a dual form, but first person has no dual. So like I said, we're moving a little bit fast through the book, but the book is available there for you to go through for your own reference purposes. Now we'll come to what exactly they mean. If you remember them, I made them in that specific order. Huwa, huma, hum. So huwa means he or it, which is a singular absent male, meaning third person. Huwa, he. Who are we talking about? We're talking about him, he, the one who was here earlier. Huwa. Who did it? He did it, that type. So huma. Huma, this one you will pull as huma, meaning they, those 2. It's third person, 2 men that's not here. Those 2 men. Who did it? Those 2 men. They did it. And then plural form is the word hum. They. Plural absent for 3 men or more. So if you have 1 man, you'll use huwa. If you have 2 men, you'll use huma. If you have 3 or 3,000 or 3 billion also, or however many, more than 3, you'll only use the word hum. So you've got singular, dual, and plural. Now plural can be anything from 3 up to infinity. So he, they. Okay, like I always say, anytime during the course of the class, if there's anything you are unsure about, anything whatsoever, ask your questions. Don't wait until the end of the class, because it will help put things in order as well, if there's anything at all that you don't understand. But okay, so those were the first 3. Now we move on to the feminine forms. So singular female, hiya, huma, hunna. Yes, hiya, huma, hunna. So hiya means she or it, if you're talking about a feminine object, which is singular absent female, third person. Who did it? She did it. She, that one woman. And then huma. Now, if you noticed above here, we had huma as in dual male. We've got huma as in dual female as well. The reason is because the dual forms are the same, as in the pronoun is the same, but how it is used in a sentence, that will change, as you'll see as we go further in this document. But anyway, so here we are, huma. Who did it? Those 2 women. And then we've got hunna. So for example, let me give you an example. Radiyallahu anhum. Here's the word hum, they. May Allah be pleased with them. And then if you were speaking only about women, you would say radiyallahu anhunna. Radiyallahu anhun, if you're stopping, but radiyallahu anhunna, may Allah be pleased with them, those women. You'll understand again as we move further, but those are the masculine 3 third person, feminine 3 third person. Moving now into second person, speaking directly to a person. Anta, you, which is singular present male, meaning somebody who's present, you're speaking to a person, which is in English termed as second person. So anta, and we did this now just in the Medina Arabic course. Man anta, who are you? You, one man. So you, singular male that is present, that you're speaking to, is the word anta is used for him. Antuma, man antuma, who are you two men? Or okay, let's stop it just at that. Who are you two men? And then you've got the word antum. Antum is plural form for 3 or more. So man antum, who are you all? Who are all you men? You mean I don't know who you men are. What are you doing here? Man antum. Then those are the 3 masculine. Now we move to the 3 feminine, which is anti. So anta, anti. Slight difference, but the difference nonetheless changes or makes all the difference between male and female. So don't use the wrong one for the wrong gender. So you've got anti, which is you, singular, present, female. You're talking to one woman, man anti, for example. And then once again, like in the third person, the dual forms are the same. So man antuma, who are you two men? Man antuma, who are you two females? Same thing. So the dual form is a little bit simple, but can be a little bit complicated if you lose track of what's going on. But I'll point that out in a short while again, inshallah. Moving on, the plural second person feminine is antunna. Antunna. So man antunna, who are all you women? I don't know you women, what are you all doing here? So man antunna. Then you have ana. Now if you see how I transliterated it, I wrote it as ana, not ana, even though there's an alif over here, but the alif is never pronounced. So I transliterate it according to the pronunciation so that you can pronounce it correctly. So ana, I, meaning whether you are a man or a woman, in both cases you'll say ana. And then you've got nahnu, which means we, whether you are a man, a lot of men, a lot of women, or men and women mixed, nahnu will always be used. So nahnu meaning we. And as you can see, first person does not have a dual form. So I or we. No, there's no third word, which means us two. It doesn't work like that. Okay, now I am giving an example of each of these pronouns. And this is where I said you may get a little bit confusion when it comes to the dual forms. So let's look starting in order again. Huwa, huma, hum. So when you're using your pronouns, obviously you got to correspond with what you are speaking about. So huwa, he is what? Huwa muslimun, he is a Muslim. But when you use a dual form, huma, then we have to correspond what we describing or speaking about them. We're saying what about them? Huma muslimani, muslimun, muslimani. You'll learn at a later stage in time how to make nouns from singular, dual, plural, and all that sort of stuff. You'll do that at a later stage in the Medina Arabic course. So don't get too bogged down with that for the moment. The purpose of this booklet here is to simply teach you the usage of these pronouns. That's what our focus is on, these pronouns, all 14 of them. So let's focus on these things more than these. But what you've noticed here is singular, singular, dual, dual, plural, plural. They'll work accordingly. So huma muslimani, those two men, they are Muslims. So what did you see here? Muslimani, dual masculine. And this is how you will tell whether the huma is masculine or feminine based on this word which follows it. If this is feminine, then you will know you're speaking about women. Let's assume you didn't know what is being spoken about. You come across a sentence And this is the entire sentence over here. And all it says is Huma Muslimani. Immediately, you're speaking about men. But if you just came across Huma, it could mean two men or two women, two men or two women, or a man and a woman. But when it says Huma Muslimani, it tells you immediately that you're speaking about two men. Moving on, it says Hum Muslimuna. Hum Muslimuna. They, all those men, they are Muslims. So Muslimun, you got Muslimin, Muslimun, it's the same word. It will just change according to the sentence, which you learn also at a later stage in time. But yeah, so Huma Muslimani, Hum Muslimuna, they are all Muslims. Now we move to the feminine form. Hiya Muslimatun, Hiya Muslim. Typo over there. Hiya Muslimatun, she is a Muslimah. I translated it as Muslimah for the purpose of this document to understand that Muslim is the masculine word, Muslimah is the feminine equivalent, but so that there's no confusion that you think, but we did Muslimah, why is she a Muslim? So we're using the more let's put it linguistically correct words. So she is a Muslimah. Huma Muslimatani. See, the word huma remains the same, but we did Muslimani, now we do Muslimatani. Now the Muslimani, Muslimatani tells us, if we see Muslimatani, immediately we know we're talking about women. If we saw Muslimani, we know immediately we're talking about men. So that's how you will come to know which huma is being spoken about. Are we talking about two men or two women? So huma Muslimatani, those two females, they are Muslimas. Hunna Muslimatun. Hunna, all those women, they are Muslims, if you want to use it in our English, but they are Muslimas, if you were to use also in modernistic English. Now, those are the third persons. Now we come to the second person. Anta Muslimun. You are a Muslim. You, one man, anta, singular masculine, Anta Muslimun. You are a Muslim. Antuma Muslimani. You two males. How are it males? Because of Muslimani. This is masculine, so it tells us we're speaking about men. Antuma Muslimani. You two are Muslims. Antum Muslimuna. Antum Muslimuna. You are all Muslims. All of you are Muslim. Moving to the feminine forms now. Anti Muslimatun. You are a Muslima. Antuma Muslimatani. You two women, you are Muslimas. Antunna Muslimatun. Antunna Muslimatun. You all of you, all you women, you are all Muslimas. And then the first person, Ana Muslimun. Ana Muslimun, I am a Muslim, male. Ana Muslimatun. I am a Muslima. So the pronoun remains the same, but how you describe yourself will tell us whether it's a man or a woman that's speaking. So a woman will not say Ana Muslimun, and a man will not say Ana Muslimatun. A man will say Ana Muslimun. A woman will say Ana Muslimatun. And that's how you'll come to know which Ana is being referred to. Is it a man who's speaking or a woman that's speaking? Based on the word which follows it. The sentence itself will tell you who's speaking, whether or who we are speaking about, whether the people we're speaking to and about, whether they are male or female, like in the form of the dual, like we did above. And then the plural forms as well. Nahnu muslimuna, we men, we are Muslims. Nahnu muslimatun, all we women, we are Muslimas. So the pronoun remains the same. The word that you are describing yourselves as, that will change according to the gender, and thus you know whether it's men or women that's being spoken about. So I had written that this is how these pronouns are written and used in the independent standalone forms. The tashkil, the harakat, Diacritical marks, meaning fatha, kasra, dhamma, will not change on of any of them. They are as they are. As you can see above, the dual forms huma and antuma are the same for both male and female. So you will tell from the context of the sentence whether they are referring to men or women. Like I mentioned above, in the examples given above, the Muslimani is used for two men, and it is a masculine word because we are referring to two men. While Muslimatani is used for two women, and it is feminine because of us speaking about two females. Likewise, this is the case when using first person, like we did with Ana Muslimun, Ana Muslimatun, Nahnu Muslimuna, and Nahnu Muslimatun. So those are the standalone independent pronouns. Then we did possessive pronouns. And we did the masmuka, ma ismuka, that is a possessive pronoun. So in the case of possessive pronouns, these pronouns take on slightly different forms. And these forms are, as you'll see here, hu, huma, hum, ha, huma, hunna, ka, kuma, kum, ki, kuma, kunna, i, na. So once again, I would recommend memorizing them in this particular order for the same reason as mentioned above with the first 14 that you had memorized. Once again, masculine, 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 feminine, 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 masculine, 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 feminine, 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 masculine, feminine, both singular, plural, first person, all the second persons, all the third persons. So 3 masculine third person, 3 feminine third person, 3 masculine second person, 3 feminine second person, then 2 first person possessive pronouns, which is used for both masculine and feminine. So let's see the examples as mentioned. So like we did above, the first one is the letter U, which is like huwa. So who, which is or its, singular absent male, third person. Who is the only one of them that can change. So it becomes he in certain cases, and you'll see that shortly as well. So he or who is its. Its nose, its house, its place of birth, its whatever it is you want to speaking about, its bonnet, its chimney, whatever. So that's how it goes. Huma, those two men, I'll give the examples shortly. So rather than they, I said theirs, possessive. Theirs, but in a plural masculine form for 3 or more men. Hers, or its. So singular feminine, third person. Huma, theirs, those two women, belongs to them. Hunna, theirs, again, plural feminine, third person. Ka, ismuka, as we did masmuka, is the ka, which means yours, singular present male. You're speaking to a singular man and you're asking him, and the possessive ka attaches to the word ism. Ma ismu ka, what is your name? And then kuma, yours, in a dual form, masmukuma, ma ismukuma, if you want to put it that way. Masmukum, plural form. Kum, also yours, but plural present for 3 men or more. So ma ismukum, masmukum, if you can follow along. Then when you come to the feminine forms is ki, yours, singular present females. So masmuki, so to speak. Masmukuma, again in the feminine form. Ma ismukuma, what are your names? Masmukunna, what are your names, all you women? Now, if you heard kuma and ism, the word ism is a noun. It is masculine. That doesn't change. So if you were to see a sentence saying masmukuma, what is your 2 names? You can't tell if we're speaking about men or women, because the name, the word ism, and the possessive pronoun both do not denote a gender as to who we are speaking about. So you will follow the rest of the sentence to understand from the context, are we speaking to 2 women or are we speaking to 2 men? Okay, moving on now, the last third person, the second person feminine is kunna. So antunna, like antunna, you have the word kunna. So masmuki, masmukuma, masmukunna. Ma ismukunna. What is all your names, all you women? Ma asma. But of course, so be it. And then time is running short. Let's see how we can push a little bit faster. You got the ya. The ya is never freestanding. It's just a e sound, which means me, mine. Mine. And I'll give the examples in a short while. And you've got the word na, which is ours. So e is mine, na is ours. And first person does not have a dual form once again. Now, I mentioned the only possessive pronoun which has the ability to have two different harakat is a singular absent male, third person form, as that can be who or he. Masmuhu, or not, you wouldn't say masmuhi, but you'll see the example of that in a moment. The rest of the possessive pronouns remain unchanged as they are. Now, I'll give an example of each, and we'll use the word kitab, meaning book. So, kitabuhu is book. Kitabu huma, you attaching huma to kitab. So kitabu huma, their book. Kitabuhum, they. All those men, the book belongs to them. Kitabuha, her book. Kitabuhuma, their book is referring to two women. Like I said, from the context, you can't tell whether the book belongs to two men or two women, but if you have a full sentence, you'll understand then from the context of the discussion that it's referring to two men or two women. Then you have kitabuhunna, they, all those women. Kitabuhunna, all of their book. Second person forms. Kitabuka, your book. Kitabukuma, your book, you two men. Kitabukum, your book, all you men. Feminine forms now. Kitabuki, your book, you one woman. Kitabukuma, once again, your book, you two women. Kitabukunna, your book, all you three or more women. And then kitabuyi, as you may imagine, kitabuyi, but this is known in Arabic as thaqilun ala lisan, something which is difficult upon the Arab's tongue to read, something as kitabuyi. So naturally, in order to make it easier on the tongue, the word then changed. So from kitabuyi, it became kitabi. The dhamma that was originally on kitabu got a kasra instead, because ya corresponds with a kasra. So kitabi, my book. So kitabi, it's the only possessive pronoun that changes it in this form, that it's not kitabuyi, but simply kitabi. But when it comes to the plural form, kitabuna, kitabuna, our book. So I mentioned above that the singular absent male possessive pronoun who also becomes he in some cases. To give a few examples of that is fihi, in him, in it. So it's fihu, but it becomes fihi. Ilayhu, to him or to it, but again it changes because of the preposition. It becomes ilayhi, to him, to it. So another one, bihu, becomes bihi, with him, it. So with it, with him. So you can see, as can be seen from the above, the only drastic changes in form between the possessive and non-possessive pronouns is in the singular male and female, present and absent pronouns, and also the first person pronouns. The rest is very similar to one another in both forms. So keeping all of this in mind, you should now be able to use pronouns بإذن وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. And so we managed to fly through all 11 pages in this little document. Like I say, it's no big, nothing fancy. It's nothing complicated. It's just a little bit of memorization that is required from your side. Like I said, the book is here. It's freely available. It's for you to, if you happen to have a printer and you print it out, you can swat it off that way. If you're reading from your phone and it's easier for you that way, so be it. If you're using it on a computer, whatever way. But the point is just memorize this formula in this way. Huwa huma hum, hiya huma hunna, anta antuma antum, anti antuma antunna, ana nahnu. Memorize it like this here, swat it off that you can somebody can wake you up in the middle of the night and ask you, read me the pronouns, and you may huwa huma hum, hiya huma hunna, anta antuma antum, and so on and so forth. It must be such second nature to you. Why? Because when you close your eyes and look in your mind, you must see this. You must see this chart like this in your mind. So if you are wanting to know what is your masculine third person, it okay, huwa, huma, because you must be able to read this whole 14 in your mind. So if you are struggling and you're trying to think, okay, what's feminine third person singular? Huwa, huma, hum, here, here. Okay, so it's here, like that. That's how it must be. It will be like that at first, something you have to draw on from memory. Later on, it will become second nature and you wouldn't even need to keep it like that in your mind. But memorize this principle, this formula in this order, because if ever you, like I said, you're going to go and study further and things, you're going to end up using it in this formula, and this particular format will end up helping you a lot. So it's not something that is optional if you want to memorize. It is something that is necessary for you to memorize in order to further your Arabic. So these are the freestanding forms, and as was as you can see later on, we've got the possessive forms. But yeah, so that's how it is. It's simple, it's straightforward, it's just 14, because these ones are just modified forms. Who, wa, huma, hum, the hiya changed a little bit. Huma, hunna, anta became ka, antuma, kuma, antum, kum, anti, ki, antuma. You can see the resemblance between the words, how slight it's changing. So very little change is actually taking place. And if you've memorized it, swatted it off by memory, then in the Medina Arabic course book, you're not going to come to most of these until later on. But I thought, for the purpose of being able to boost your Arabic, so that when we're doing our exercises and stuff, you can put in any pronoun, make it singular, third person, second person, whatever you want to. You have all the pronouns at your disposal. So you are a little bit ahead of the Medina Arabic course if you do this as a little bit of a side class at this moment in time. But yeah, that being that, like I say, it's obviously we flew through the book, and here's some exercises for you. Like you can see, I simply took the word kitab in here, but you can take any word of your own. Take the word ism, ismuhu, ismuhuma, ismuhum, ismuha, ismuhuma, ismuhunna. Okay, you would be using asma'uhunna, in that sense, but simply put, that's now if we're using a masculine word, or we can take a feminine word like sayyaratun, sayyaratuhu, sayyaratuhuma, sayyaratuhum, sayyaratuha, sayyaratuhuma, sayyaratuhunna, so on and so forth. Take from the vocab that we have done, and you can adjust it accordingly, putting it in here, and see how you use the possessive pronoun in your own way. But you have the formula, you have the principle how to use the possessive pronouns. Sayyarati, sayyaratuna. So, simple, straightforward. And inshallah, if you go through this short, simple booklet, inshallah, you'll know how to use your pronouns and your possessive pronouns at the end of this one simple, straightforward book. So that suffices for tonight, inshallah. We've got a couple of seconds only left, so we're ending on this point here, inshallah. Until next week, when we will continue on back from the Medina Arabic course. This was only a once-off class. The class will be available on YouTube if you need to do revision, but So be it. We will end for this on this point here for now. We'll do, like I say, most of these things at a later stage in the Medina Arabic course book. But for now, we will suffice with what we have done. Until next time.